How's it going, guys? Max, Wagner, Fud. Forget about it? That's funny. That's great. All right. So, Matt, throwing in a question already. Can we look at Ethereum because you're in a heavy short? I'd be careful with the short term, but we can take a look at it for sure because Ethereum is bouncing off a really critical level when we looked at it this morning. So we can take a peek together, see what we can find. Michael, what's up, man? Swift. Okay, let's dive into Ethereum for you, man. Just in case. We don't want you to... Got our Ethereum chart here. I'll talk about the short-term price action quickly for you. And then we'll go over the more macro thing for you. So short-term price action. Right now we are hitting this uptrending momentum. I think we just recently bounced off of it. And we are approaching, it depends on where you are on your short, because if you're a short around here, it's a different story, right? This is the momentum that you're going to want to watch as a huge warning sign to get out if you haven't already taken some profits. But if you're comfortable with telling me what your position is on your Ethereum short, we can go through it together and see whether or not you might need to take some profits or if it's more of a longer term hold. I hope everyone is having a great day. Thanks, Melissa. Oh, Otter Gang is here. It's going to get scary in a moment. All right, let's zoom out. So yeah, if you're in a short, let's say around here or around here, then you're doing great so far. This is the momentum that you would want to watch to prepare for a potential exit. If you got in around this bounce, then hopefully you're already out of your position because because of the fact that we are bouncing off this momentum, we're maintaining this kind of like a regression trend here, then we could end up breaking this momentum here and then hitting the previous value or high to retest it again. So if I were to zoom out a little further here, Ethereum just bounced off insanely critical level. And it allowed us to finally break this downtrending resistance right here that would have been fighting since the ETF launch. That's what this green vertical line stands for. Is this the date of the ETF launch for Ethereum? And if we zoom out even further, that red line that we had the support bounce off of has been the support line. The support, they basically think of it the buyer's momentum for Ethereum since it was at $880. So this is a pretty significant level. It's almost like the legacy support trend line for Ethereum. If you were to think of it relative to Bitcoin's legacy support, this is pretty critical level. And we just bounced off it and allowed us to finally break this momentum here. We got the change of character on the daily. We double bottomed right off that level. So overall, I'd say macro-wise, Ethereum is still positioned to be bullish, and especially since we honored that level of support. But short term, and depending on where you got in on your short, man, like your positioning could be pretty good so long as you got off any of these highs, or off the double top confirmation, or off of the 1 minute chart inverse head and shoulders, or the top here. But hopefully you're not in on your short around this level, because if you are, hopefully you're already out, because this bounce could cause the break. Luke Zaldena. What's up, Kyle? You're definitely from the Otter Gang. What's up? 2677 is B and E. 2677. Yeah, let's zoom out a little bit here. We get off, right now we are getting acceptance into this previous value area for Ethereum right here. And whenever you get acceptance to a value area, just anticipate for the behavior to kind of mock the same form of behavior as that value area. Like resistance at the previous value area high, support off the value area low, and consolidation, a large amount of consolidation near the point of control. And let me just pull up a horizontal ray off of that and fix this a little bit. and pull up my, there we go. Now let's zoom in and see how it behaved off the point of control here. Yeah, so we had it act as resistance, 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 and it could very well act as resistance again before potentially breaking and getting us that previous value area high target again. But yeah, if we ever break this momentum while maintaining this value area, while staying within it, then it's a really easy short trade too. We can have a short-term short. Let's say we break the momentum around here or above here, and then we get acceptance into the value area, then you can target the value area low. The further up we are, the better the risk to reward ratio, but you still always got to be cautious of the point of control. Okay, does that help you with your short position there, Max? Hopefully that gave you all the answers you need to know how to manage the trade. Can we look at Sui from Oliver? Can we go over Tia? Yeah, we can do both those things. So let's do a quick peek at Bitcoin, and then we'll, all right, so Bitcoin manipulates pretty much the entire market. So I just want to see what kind of stance we should have when we're looking at other assets. We just broke the double bottom neckline after a bounce inside this. We're getting a bit of a squeeze going on. And we have less than 17 hours left before we reach the apex and likely have a break. And normally with crypto, we only have like, we break out 30% prior to the break, right? So we, short term, bullish, but we got to turn our bear goggles on again up here just in case we break to the downside in confluence with that momentum. But positioning is looking like it could, if we do get that break and retest, then we can get that inverse head and shoulders kind of posture, and that could drive the price back up to these highs again. And we can continue with this regression trend that we've been in since the 18th. Yeah. Maintain this regression trend while we're trying to get acceptance into a previous value area from the past here. And we're kind of getting our butt kicked by it right now as we speak. But if we get acceptance into there within this regression trend, then that could actually spark some volume to get us a strong continuation to 67K. All right, but let's zoom back in on the 5, and we'll look at Tia for, oh no, Oliver was first. So Oliver, we'll look at Sui first. Goldie Crypto, good evening. We got another otter in the house. What's your thoughts on Bitcoin grabbing liquidity at 626? My thoughts are actually, I was thinking that I have that level marked right now, this little green box that you see on my screen, because there's like $180 million here in liquidity. So if we were to come back down after we lose this momentum right here, and we grab that, that could be great liquidity to spark a bigger move. But we even have even more liquidity here and a demand zone lower than that. So we can prepare for, like, this is my thought process with this area right now, is that we're likely going to probably perform an SFP here. And we could use this price action here as reference to tell us when we have the proper price acceptance for the SFP. But I think it might be short-lived and we'll get a rejection off of this zone because it's an uptrending area of interest that could flip bearish and give us a confirmation, hit the technical target of this like regression trend move, and grab the liquidity here in this demand zone and cause us to go up to higher zones too. It doesn't have to happen that way, but that, like, based on the liquidity and the structure, that's the kind of behavior that I'm anticipating for the short-term bearish play before going into a bigger move to the upside. And like the same thing could also happen here, where we don't have to break to the downside. We don't have to grab that liquidity, even though I would feel more comfortable as a trader that if we did. but we could end up breaking to the upside from the squeeze and create a new high, maintain this regression trend, get acceptance to this previous value area, and then allow us to go to around the 67K that way too. I guess it all depends on what kind of structure we get if we do break to the upside. And then this could be a delayed grab. Because I thought we were going to go for it over here, but we didn't. We just added to it. When we came down here, we basically just, we had like an SFP, but like we just basically just added to the, like this was the SFP candle here. We just added more liquidity, making the situation even more of like a, think of it like adding more power to the magnet, right? This liquidity could draw on some market makers. But anyways, let's look at Sui for Oliver, and then we can look at, what was the other request? TF for David. Hey Alex, how you doing, man? Thanks for jumping on. An OM for Goldie. Okay, cool. So let's look at Sui. I think we have a Sui chart. We do. Okay, so let's look at if they're here. Sui just not stop going up. So the last time we did TA on it, we were looking at the fact that we had a confirmation formation. And for those of you who don't know what that confirmation formation is, like when you break a key level, like this downtrending momentum, and then you consolidate and build structure to define the continuation. So we got that, we broke out, and we surpassed the measurable move. The measurable target was right about here, and we surpassed it by an additional 15%. And now we're back at these highs again. I'm pretty sure these are the all-time highs. I think this is like the, yeah, this is the all-time highs. That's pretty wild. So if anyone got it on Sui, congrats. That's pretty intense. We weren't looking at it since the around the 10th or 11th. It's wild. And this is the momentum I would follow, but we have a lot of negative space from it. So we can zoom in and see what kind of behavior we got for the hourly. Yeah, we lost the momentum on the hourly too. Right here. Still maintaining that uptrend. And that green line, why do I have that drawn? Okay, the green line was preparing for the bearish scenario. I don't usually draw it in green, so I'm not sure why I did that. But if we lost this key area before in the past, it was like our trigger point to prepare for the short, which played out extremely well. Like we had this drop all the way down, like over 70, close to 70%. Yeah, over 70%. And now we got acceptance back inside. So let's pull a fixed range. Let's clear up some of this noise. We don't need this anymore, unless we're following back down. Let's pull a fixed range from the start of this move here to here, this consolidative range, and see what key areas we got to watch. So we can see that we're showing signs of acceptance. I'll zoom in on the other side there so you can see what I'm seeing, because I know my screen is a little bit more clear for me. All right, and we got a previous POC. Let's get rid of this green line. We don't need that anymore. And let's get this value area high. And we got a little bit of concern here as well. All right, cool. So we got all of our previous levels marked. Let's make it a little bit more perfect. There we go. All right, cool. Now let's go to the present and see how we behaved off it. So we had price action break into the value area, get rejected out of the POC, acceptance off the previous value area low. Right here we had it act as support. And now we're at that little area of concern I drew over here. It's a supply concern. I believe that we need to mitigate a lot of the supply first before we can expect. We're probably going to rejection around the zone, build bearish divergence. Looks like we're already stacking some divergence from this move to this move here, right? And if we end up meeting the same kind of pace, price action will have an additional divergence. So I think that likelihood of us getting a rejection here is pretty high. We're building kind of like a rising wedge structure. We're starting to get stacking divergence. And we're getting into a supply zone. So we could reach as high as the previous value area high, but at that point we'll get a rejection most likely. And then we can target the previous POC, potentially as low as the previous value area low. And I'm thinking we're likely going to have consolidation here to allow us to reset the conditions of SUI's price action a bit so we can get a continuation to new higher highs. But overall, this is, SUI's kicking ass. It's doing a great job. Does that help with your, do you have any other questions about SUI before we move on, Oliver? Or you think we're good? Around what percentage are you expecting a correction, Kyle? If we're talking about SUI, percentage-wise, I think that the previous value area low, from the data that we currently have, is going to act like a strong floor. So if we get a correction, if you're talking about SUI when you ask for that, percentage-wise, we based on when we can confirm the drop. And I think the drop is likely going to happen between this red box zone and this previous value area high. And we can use the momentum here as a good tool to prepare for that. We can also use previous data as well to prepare for potential broad SFPs. So if we get something like off this wick here, for example, we could get a broad SFP once price action comes above this zone and we get a close back inside the range, then we can short it as well for a more of a higher leverage opportunity. But it's about a 15% from the top of the value area to the bottom here. And we have a request as well. You meant for a BTC? Oh, we could take a look at BTC, but it's not that big, the correction that I'm talking about. We have a demand zone guard. All right, so that's Oliver's request. Let's go over TF for David. Let's take another peek at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still looking good. We got a 9 flash on the T sequential, which is typically a warning sign if you have it in confluence with an area of resistance, and right now that confluence is the local value area high. If we get price action to go up here a little bit more, yeah, that 9 flash could be pretty critical, especially if we pump within the next minute and 40 seconds to this zone, if you have a good time to prepare for a short. But the play for Bitcoin, we have a short play for like eventually around here. Once we confirm it around the zone, let me just triangle it here for you guys. Right around here. That's where I prepare for the short. Just wait for structure to define the confirmation first, and then I would target around 629. But we also have a lot of liquidity here at 626, and a lot more in this demand zone here we were talking about before. So from top to bottom, in the absolute worst case scenario, probably around like 2.8% drawdown. Let me just fix this fixed range here. Okay, and what is the indicator that shows? The candle strength numbers. It's called, it used to be called the TD sequential. Now it's called something else. It's called consecutive candles multi-time frame. There used to be an indicator called the TD sequential that this is based off of, but the TD sequential had trademark issues, so they took it down. And what it does is it's basically a candle counter. So it's counting how many consecutive candles have been in a profit in a sense. And normally, the confluence of the 9th consecutive candle being in a profit or in a negative, like constantly going down or in an uptrend, you can prepare for a potential reversal, especially in confluence with other zones. Like you see these 9 flashes here. The green 9 flash, we had a bit of a pullback. Green 9 flash, pullback. Now we're getting a red 9 flash. They're usually big warnings for reversals, but they're not perfect. You got to use them in confluence with other indicators. We got a 9 flash here, and we still had some uptrend before we came down. 9 flash here, pulled back. I've been using them in confluence with the Shi high indicator, like this little red diamond or green diamond indicator you see here. If you have them within about 4 candle aura of each other, they tend to have really good confluence and give you good trades. Even better if they're off of key levels, like a value area high or value area low, or downtrending momentum or uptrending momentum. And here's another good example of a 9 flash. And of course, the higher the time frame, the more accurate. You see a 9 flash on the TD sequential on the daily, you should be preparing for something pretty significant. All right, so we don't need to watch this level anymore. This is if you're going in on the long from here to basically here. This is our next area of interest in case we want to prepare for a long, and our other area of interest down here. And if we have a pivot, we need a pullback here and a bounce, we can prepare for a more local short-term trade right around here. But we're now at the previous value area low again, and at the local value area high. So we're going to prepare for some short price action soon. Biomax, how you doing, man? Value area low, value area high hunting. It depends on what the market gives us, but I prefer to trade within a value area because it's higher win rate. But if you're doing a trend trade, those things may give you lower win rates, but they give you much higher profits. Okay. So yeah, we're in the short zone there. Let's give it some time. We have about, let's say about 35, 40 minutes before we prepare for the short scenario. I'm going to set an alarm for this high, because if this breaks, we might get structure to allow us to do a long instead. I know it sounds a little bit opposite for a lot of traders that, prepare for a long in the premium zone, but when an area of interest breaks like this, you get a chain reaction of stops being hit that force rebuys and bring us to measurable targets. We can target these extreme highs again. And so we got alarm set here. We're going to do once per bar close. So 5-minute candle close above this orange line. Potential BTC long. And we're going to do an alarm here for this uptrending momentum, except we're going to do only once. So basically what I want to happen is if a candle just touches this momentum, I want to be notified of it so I can appropriately prepare for a short and not be late on it. So BTC potential short. Cool. All right, those alarms are set. Now we can look at TIA for David. So let's go over TIA. I actually did a trade today on TIA, preparing for a long, and it got stopped out. So here's the confluence I was looking at for this long. See if you're interested in learning about my screw up. We got this daily structure here, right? We have this downtrending momentum right through here, and we have inverse head and shoulders behavior, and it was fractalizing, right? So this is the 4-hour inverse head and shoulders behavior I'm talking about here, and it was fractalizing on the 15-minute after breaking this downtrending momentum. And what fractalizing basically means is if you see if you see micro posture mocking the macro posture, it's a form of fractal. And we had that happen here when we bounced off of the neckline resistance as support. And in confluence with that, we broke this zone here. And it was just looking overall pretty bullish. And Bitcoin's posture at the time was also bullish, but we ended up seeing Bitcoin hit downtrending momentum as resistance, and it drove the price down of TIA. And we retest this as support again. So overall, TIA is still positioned to be bullish, except one thing that you got to take note of is that we are at that macro resistance right here. See that green line here? It's the same green line that we're looking at here on the daily. So there's an opportunity here for a potential high volume move to the upside or a correction here. And this downtrending area of interest is a huge factor of that. So if you have access to a TIA order book, you can watch the sell walls and see if they're being lifted off of this trend line here. If you see a large sell wall preparing here, that means this is still a downtrending area of interest, and it'll likely drive the price down again. So hopefully that's not the case. But short term, it's looking bullish again. But we have to again watch what Bitcoin's doing, because Bitcoin's boss. If Bitcoin breaks the downtrending resistance that we're looking at, instead we have it act as resistance, then TIA, it's going to reflect to be relatively bullish. Like the measurable move from this zone right here would bring us to this high again. And we might get continuations or we might get reversals, but this is the exhaustive point. When we saw what happened to Sui, it reached its measurable target and it still continued. And let's go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, because this is like the deciding factor for Sui. If we break this, we have reason to consolidate and continue to as high as 64.7, but we're going to watch around 64.383. Okay, let's go to the next request. What we got? We went through Sui, sorry. Went through TIA. We look at OM. Can you look at WIF? Ew. Okay, we can look at WIF. But it did really well today. I was actually looking at the bubble maps this morning and saw WIF was one of the top performers. It's one of those, yeah, the meme sector this cycle is just taken over the market cap. We can take a peek at that too. Okay, we got our alarm set, so we don't need to stare at the screen for that. Let's go to OM for Goldie Crypto, and then we can do WIF. And gold. Someone wants me to look at gold. Can you tell me when gold will reverse? Yeah, we can find reversal points for gold too. So OM. Okay, let's see. OM's mantra. OM's got descending broadening wedge. I don't think I've ever charted this before. Let's zoom out a bit. Well, it looks like I've looked. Yeah, I have. Okay, I charted it recently. Very easy to trade, looks like. That's pretty beginner friendly, wouldn't you say? We've got, I don't even remember looking at this. It's just all blends together. So we got, yeah, in terms of value area trading, if you're just trading the same strategy that I do, which is basically prepare for longs at the value area low, prepare for shorts at the value area high, track momentum, break momentum, change of character, target the other side. That's simple. And this thing does very well in that strategy. Like when you're picking your assets to trade based off of your rules, you want to make sure before you trade it, despite how good it may look, that it historically it honors your rules relatively well. So you can maybe look at that asset more often if it matches your strategy. For example, if you're a trend trader, like Cardano was like one of the best ones to trend trade for a while until recently. And if you're a range trader, like Chainlink is great. Apparently this one's great. Okay, so right now it's must be, okay, it's a monthly high there. I'm just seeing, so whenever you see a rising wedge or a falling wedge, you want to immediately look to the left to see a key area of interest as to why traders are losing confidence. Because like falling wedges and rising wedges are a sign of lost confidence in the direction, right? So if the sellers are losing confidence in a falling wedge, the buyers are losing confidence in a rising wedge. Okay, the volume dwindles. So you look to the left to see what's the confluence, what's the area of concern that traders are afraid to long against. And it looks like this area of supply is being mitigated. We've got a previous month high as well. It comes in confluence with the apex point. So overall, it looks like it's preparing for a bearish move, but short term, I'll be more bullish because we're bouncing off of this uptrending support. And what I like about trading with inside of a rising wedge or anything that's uptrending is that your stop loss guard becomes more and more guarded over time because of the uptrend, right? So you have the ability to evolve your stop loss or have more confidence that your stop loss is protected. But short term, we have this downtrending momentum pushing it against the uptrending support in our current key area that we need to have broken to kind of like validate the likelihood of us reaching the opposite side of this rising wedge is right here. This is the key area we got to watch, while being aware that these kind of postures, it's like descending broadening wedges like this, they tend to get exhausted right at the top point too. So this is going to be a TP1 zone right here around 116.5. When this, but this is the point of interest. We need to have this broken to confirm at least that move. You might be able to front run it. Let's say, for example, we break this momentum or you're not in on this double bottom. Maybe we can get in on a lower area of interest. But right now we're getting our butts kicked against the VWAP and confluence with the downtrending momentum. If we can zoom in on the lower time frames like the 5, we can track the pace here. And we might have to dissect this even further, unfortunately. Yeah, okay, this chart's not that bad on the 1 minute. The 1 minute, this would be the area of interest here. We need to have that broken to give us that change of character. And then we can prepare for shorts. I haven't gotten an alarm yet in my ears for Bitcoin. But this same kind of scenario as Bitcoin though. This is a triangle zone here where you prepare for the bearish activity unless we break this high here on the 15-minute time frame. So 15-minute close above this. We need 15-minute price acceptance above this zone here. All right, so that's the two scenarios for OM. And then someone, when we look at gold, how often do you post your signals in the Otter Discord? And what's your rough estimate of your win rate? My win rate is 87 or 86 point. Let me just pull it up. Oh, alarm's going off. 1 sec. 86.69% over the last 556 trades. I do about a fifth of the signals in the Otter Discord. All right, I got my ears blaring right now with this alarm. All right, we broke the high. Okay. So we got a 5-minute candle close above. We retested already on Binance. So I'm going to give it some time if it'll allow it, because I want a structural guard for my stop loss, and we don't have one other than way down here. So I'm going to give it some time to develop a structural guard before thinking about entering along, and I'll go in on the break of structure continuation. So we get that break of structure, that's when I'm going in for the long. If we don't, instead we fail, because the break of structure will help define whether that we're like going to double top from here or have that continuation. So we need at least 2 candles to print red on the 5-minute to define the pullback, and then we'll mark the high that's created at that point, which is hopefully here. Hopefully the high stays like relatively close, not like up here or something like that. I feel actually not that uncomfortable about it being around here, because then we can get some confidence of breaking this level at the same time. So let's find out what the R&R is going to be, so we can find out what price we're allowed to at least jump in on. So we need a guard around here. Let's target the highs again. Let's undercut it a bit. So we need our entry at least around this point or lower. So hopefully we get it lower, depending on what stop loss guard we get. We'll prepare. Someone want me to look at gold, so we can look at gold. Gold ticker, I always forget. It's not as simple as just writing. Not capital. What do you want me to look at for in terms of the ticker there? Can you explain a little bit about the consecutive candle indicator, how we can use for swing trades? Yeah, we can do that. XAU. Oh, Donna, yeah. Most people use this, right? Okay, so someone wants me to find reversal points for gold. Pretty sure it's at its all-time high. Yeah, it's at its all-time high. Okay, so we're in price discovery right now, which is understandable because we just had a 50-point basis reduction, right? For those of you who've been paying attention to the global economy, we've got a 50-point reduction. So that could cause fear for inflation. So people would want to hedge against that by buying stuff like Bitcoin or gold. So gold right now, it's got a 9 flash on the daily. It's pretty significant. But the key things you're going to want to watch is psychological levels. And a lot of people remove them from their charts, but I recommend not to. These grid lines in the back of your chart are marked psychological levels. They're rounded numbers that people tend to type to exit or enter a position. So you'd watch those key levels, those psychological levels, for potential resistance. We're at one right now as we speak. We're a little bit above one that's at 2,645 or 2,650. We're about $5 over, or $1 over. So we're at a key level of psychological resistance. So I would prepare for a reversal when we get the change of character. Use the high created from the change of character as your stop loss guard, and then target the active broad momentum, which is these levels here, while looking out for any order blocks or any demand zones along the way. But right now, there's nothing, man. There's no structure defying that this thing's going to slow down yet. Which is kind of a bummer for anyone who wants to invest in gold. Gold's like one of those things that when you buy it, you're buying it under the assumption that you're going to be holding it for a long time, so you can take advantage of these kind of situations. Luckily, it's a slow-moving asset, so you have lots of time to prepare for those reversals. Nothing yet, sorry, man. Shimor. I have $1 million to lose. Should I put it all in Cardano? That would be a good place to lose $1 million. Oh, man. The way things are going with it, you'll probably move the market. It's getting his butt kicked. All the attention's being deterred away from it. But today it's doing pretty well. 5%. Of nothing, though. BNB. Yeah, BNB is probably one of the best network performers alongside with Solana for this cycle. We got a Doji retest on Binance for Bitcoin, but that's not considered a pullback. It is on the 1 minute, but not on the 5. Put it into shitcoin. Yeah, shitcoin's doing really well. Unfortunately. What are we missing? Who did I miss? So we went through... Oh, we need to go through whiff for X enemy here. So, yeah, breakout trader. You jumped in on this as a breakout trader. And I'm not... I would jump in on a breakout if we had a valley or volume gap on the visible range volume profile or the fixed range volume profile. But we don't have that until around here. Around this zone. And that's just me visualizing based on the current active price action. So hopefully we get that pullback so I can join. But the R&R isn't that great for a breakout trader, so I wouldn't understand people contributing very much volume yet. All right, so we need to look at whiff. Dog with hat. Unfortunately, I've charted this thing before. We got descending channel still active. It was in price discovery. It hit $1 as its low. Oh, the low was actually near the opening of this chart, actually. Well, it went to $1.06 on this chart. Bounced off the downtrending momentum. And now we're breaking these highs with a measurable target. I guess we marked it already. of $2.80. The 200, we just bounced off the 200 day, or sorry, the 50 day, and we're heading up towards the 200. And we're also heading towards this area of concern here. So I think based on the posture that we're likely going to see it consolidate, reset with a pennant flag before breaking to the upside. Well, that's at least what you kind of want for it to be healthy. But in my opinion, I don't really care much about the health of these meme tokens. Okay. Let's change this trend line. Yeah, so I'm expecting a retracement around here off the daily area of interest, rejection, to hopefully consolidate either above or below. So if we break out of this, then hope for consolidation above it, and then you can jump in on the consolidation break. Or if we consolidate below, you can use the confluence of the break with the break of this resistance for a potential entry as well, depending on what kind of like posture we get. But I'm hoping if we at least get squeezed against this daily momentum and this horizontal resistance flipping as support, that will pennant, and then we'll break out of the pennant that way for a good reset. Well, that's WIF. That's how I look at WIF right now. What we got for Bitcoin? What's it doing now? Still kind of inching. When did you get the TD sequential back? I've had it I've been using the TD sequential for years until they took it down and then someone recreated it. But I brought this back on my chart, I'd say 3 weeks ago. The thing is, the settings with this indicator is pretty noisy version of it. So you got to go through the settings and really take down all the unnecessary noise. So all I really look for is the 9 flash. The 7 and an 8 that I have on it, all they're really meant for is the warning sign to prepare you for a potential short, like just psychologically. So when I see a 7 or an 8, I'm just like, okay, cool. We're going to get a 9 flash soon. And if I get confluence with that 9 flash, then I will likely enter a short. And the confluence could be an SFP. The confluence could be a Shi-High diamond. The confluence could be off of support. Change of character, stuff like that. They're all relatively good calls. And if you get the 9 covered directly over the diamond, I've noticed that it tends to have a really good accuracy for a pullback or rejection. How do we get access to the Shi-High indicator? Unfortunately, it's a paid indicator. It was created by one of our members in Finova. His name's Mario YO. You can message me or him to get access, but I think he's trying to keep it as discreet as possible because he doesn't want too many people having it because it can contribute to volume against us. But yeah, it's like $300 and you get it for life if the prices haven't changed. But you don't just get the Shi-High indicator, you get other indicators with it as well. Like Argus is probably one of the best ones that he has as well. And Argus, what allows you to do is view the wicks and how they're performing on other exchanges. So especially if you're an SFP trader, it can be really helpful for you because, for example, this is the Bitstamp chart. And I love using Bitstamp because it gives you all the historical data. So a lot of the macro indicators perform much better on Bitstamp charts than any other charts. So I'll usually use it, but I'll have to make sure that the exchange, when I go to enter a trade, I have to make sure that the confluence is there as well on the exchange. That's the only downside with using the Bitstamp chart. But because of Argus, I can actually see how the price action is performing on other exchanges. Like the blue, I kind of changed my colors so that it matches the same branding as the exchange. But like the darker blue after this wick, that's BitGet. And then we have the orange, which is Bybit. And the bright yellow, you can barely see it, is Binance. So I can see where the candles are printing or how the wicks are printed on those platforms. All right, so we're breaking above this high. We still need to pull back for our stop loss guard. If you jumped in the breakout, congratulations. You're doing well so far. But I still want the pullback. If I don't get the trade, then I don't get the trade. It's all right. What are the best small tokens to trade, like Big Time or Ruin? Well, for me, a huge deciding factor is there's a lot of deciding factors, honestly. If you're looking at the lower market cap stuff, like what's their holder count? Does it take a large amount of participants to move the market? And what's their market cap? But if you're looking at low market cap stuff, as long as their structure doesn't break your normal rules and you back tested the rules on those assets, like Ondo is a good one to trade, especially if you're a range trader, or Ondo, depending on how you fucking pronounce that thing. FET. Jasmy, especially if you're a trend trader. Injective, I still consider small. But I understand it in a beginner standpoint as to why you might want a lower market cap asset to trade, because you think that everyone has the wrong mentality when it comes to at least trading short term. You think that lower market cap means larger gains, but it doesn't really work that way. If you think about risk management, proper risk management, you should be always trying to lose the exact same amount every single trade, no matter what the percentage drawdown is. You should be trying to control your leverage and your margin so that this 0.47% loss, for example, that I'm preparing for, is 1% of your capital every time. So in this scenario, you would probably use about 2x leverage if you're going to use your full balance. Or if you're using a quarter of your balance, you'd be using like 8x leverage. So you're always consistent with your losses. You want to be risking to lose that 1%. But if you're trading like a low market cap asset, your drawdowns are usually like sometimes like 8% or 6% with your stop loss. And in those kind of scenarios, you got to be using a lot less margin to be losing 1%. And with the lower market cap assets, you got to think that it takes less participants to break the chart. So if you're a random holder with a large bag and you decide you want to sell one day and that person doesn't know much about TA and say, okay, they're going to sell at the momentum line, that person can just break the momentum and buyers can just come back up and then, yeah. So it just depends, man, what you're after. Kyle, why did you not take the short after your last long setup? Oh, you mean with Tia? We already went over that, man. You can look at the history of this live to take a look and see what my reasoning for entering the long is on Tia. But the posture looked really, really bullish. Other than Bitcoin's posture was, we were right at the resistance for Bitcoin, and it influenced our trade to drive it down. So it was like right around this moment here when Bitcoin broke this momentum, this like short-term momentum here, when we entered the TIA trade, and then it drove it right back down. And I should have been paying attention to what Bitcoin was doing when I did that trade. It's kind of like a rookie mistake, honestly. But we got the one candle pullback. We need another so we can define this top. Hopefully we get a decent stop loss guard after we get the break of structure. How do you stay so handsome with the stress of trading? Trading isn't stressful. Maybe giving signals to thousands of people could be sometimes, but I used to stress out a lot trading. Now it's like, just follow the rules. It's emotionless if you're just following the rules and risking to lose the same amount every single time. If you feel emotion, it means you're putting too much into your trade. Or you don't trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, that means you haven't backtested your strategy. You don't know what the potential win rate is of the strategy that you're trading. If you don't know the win rate, then you don't have statistical evidence of what your income is going to be after 100 trades. If you don't have statistical data telling you like where you should be at after 100 trades, then it's very easy to be emotional as a trader. Super easy, because it all feels like an unknown. If you have like a 60% win rate and you backtested it before trying it in a live environment, you at least know like your statistical outcome of the trade. And if you're doing proper risk management, risking to lose 1% to gain 2% or more, it feels like easy mode. It's just the strategy part can be tricky for some people, like building a set of rules for yourself. And I've got 3 strategies for myself that I'll use in different scenarios, depending on which time that strategy is at its like optimal peak. Kyle, if altcoin's following Bitcoin, does it matter TA that is paired to? Yeah. So if you're trading an altcoin, you want to find out what its liquidity pool is built out of. For example, if you're trading Bonk, you should know that, maybe Bonk's not a good example. I don't know the liquidity pool for it. Where's a good example that I actually know the liquidity pairing for? If you're trading, let's go with Karma, like one of the assets. If you're trading Karma, it's built on the Binance Smart Chain. So all of its liquidity is on BNB. So whenever BNB moves, Karma's going to move even if there isn't buyers or sellers. If you have BNB, for example, has a lot of Bitcoin pairing liquidity. So BNB is going to move relatively close to what Bitcoin does as well. So think of the chain impact that Karma would have over Bitcoin's moves. Bitcoin moves, BNB moves, Karma moves. And it's like that with every single asset. And because of how crypto is created, it happens like instantaneously. It's not like following the DXY, for example, and seeing how it impacts Bitcoin's price. It's not usually an instantaneous impact like it is with altcoins versus Bitcoin. So make sure when you pick an altcoin, you know what its relative strength is by seeing like how much pairing liquidity it has with Bitcoin or other assets. Because another asset might be the boss of the one that you're trading. And you got to make sure that asset, for example, if Bitcoin's bullish, you got to make sure that the altcoin that you're preparing to trade has a bullish stance as well that matches your rules to prepare for that altcoin trade. So Bitcoin can piggyback your trade for you. And essentially, Bitcoin becomes a good indicator for altcoin traders. So you see, okay, what's Bitcoin looking like today? Does it look bullish or bearish? All right, Bitcoin's at its value area low. Maybe I should be focusing on longs for this altcoin, for example. Or Bitcoin's at a value area high. Maybe I should be focusing on shorts. Or Bitcoin just broke downtrending momentum. It's about to do a break of structure. maybe I should prepare for Bitcoin moving from its current value area to the next value area, meaning there could be a big high volume move that could impact my altcoin trade, stuff like that. So it does matter. And sometimes it matters to the point where you should have a split chart like this, constantly watching the pairing asset that influences your altcoin trade. So here's the asset you trade, here's the asset you watch. Hopefully that makes sense. Kyle, can you talk a little about the Elite versus Standard package? Yeah, the Elite, you get 5 calls per week with coaches like myself, where we go like Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the morning. We do our trade hunting together. So when I enter a trade, you can watch me enter a trade, ask me any questions you want. On Tuesday nights, which is tonight, we've got mindset and trade study calls, so you can ask any mindset questions or any trading questions. And sometimes we'll do trades too if there's something on the charts. And then on Wednesdays, swing trading study with a really great trader named David O'Donnell. He's like a 3rd generation trader. He does trades that are usually on the 4-hour to the daily time frame, and the trades usually last a few weeks. And then we have Thursdays with Lucas. He's a range trader. He does a lot of the smart money concepts type style trades, kind of like a blend of what I do. But that's like his core strategy is range trading strategies that uses market structure as its deciding factor of whether or not he'll enter a trade. And then on Fridays is our new call with Thesis. He's a Fibonacci trader that also uses market structure. He kind of has his own like little hybrid type strategy, but he catches the knives really, really well, like Jackie Chan style. Saturday is going to be my classes soon. Oh yeah? Well, we're always open to like expanding our team, making it bigger. Just got to do it at a healthy pace so we can actually support you guys. But yeah. And then on top of that, all the calls that you get, there's the Discord where you get our signals, and you also get, on top of that, you also get courses. So you actually know how to follow the signals. I usually recommend people to take the courses first, like the mindset courses and the trade hunting, not the trade hunting, the technical analysis courses. Thesis also has a sexy beard. Yeah, that's a fact. He struck it really big recently. Let me pull up the Discord really quick. He had the scenario where, you know how like exchanges usually sometimes screw up? Well, they screwed up in his favor this time. He made some decent money because the positions just teleported. Like the charts just teleported to his position when the charts weren't technically supposed to be there, and made like an extra like few grand because of an exchange's mistake. Usually it's the opposite. Like an exchange's API screw up or something like that, people lose money, but he made money and then ran, which is pretty great. Honest question. Why are you and the team doing this relatively for free? Well, I started InvestShare and it was free, completely free. And I started InvestShare because trading is fucking lonely. It's a very lonely thing. So I wanted to like have a group of people that I can communicate with, where we can learn together and trade together. That's how it all started. And then my win rate got really high after building a set of rules for myself and constantly backtesting different rules. And then the community that I built basically said you should start charging. It's kind of like what Alex O'Crypto was going through right now. He was doing it all for free, just out of the generosity of his own heart, like just because he's a nice guy, wanting to help people. And that's basically how I started too. Like I wanted to help people because I was in a really, really bad position in life, and I wanted to make sure that I could help as many people as I could. While I'm already spending the energy trading, why not just screenshot what I do and help as many people get out of the financial rut that they're in? So that's kind of how it all started. And then it became paid. And when it became paid, I was able to use the money to inject it right back into the business to make it better and better and better. And then we started building our own courses, using the money for the hosting services for the website, and just then hiring a team, and just spiraled out of control from there. So I didn't really create the community. The community kind of like created the whole thing themselves, if that makes sense. Did you really trade from 26? Was that a challenge? It wasn't a challenge. It was me being desperate. So I got into crypto. Like a lot of people got into crypto because of a scam. I got into crypto because of a scam too. And there's a scam called passive wallets. And I put all of my savings into it, which at the time was $1,500. And it doesn't sound like much money, but that was like everything I had. And it took me a long time to get that because my average income was like between 25 to 30K per year. And I was in a lot of debt. So the debt was actually outpacing what I made per month in interest. So I ended up using my savings because the scam, which didn't seem like a scam to me at the time. I was new to crypto, so I didn't know what the capabilities of it was. But it was offering like 3% per day, which should have been a red flag. But when you're in that like state of mind, you don't really you have a huge sense of hopium, and you just ignore all the red flags. I'm hoping some of you guys have been there before, but I invested in it thinking that it could help change my life, and it did pay out every single day until one day they rug pulled, and my last payment was the $26, and their scam was basically saying, we trade for you, and then we give you a fraction of the profits. And I did research on like trading, and the fraction of the profits seemed reasonable, like 3% per day as a trader. From what I saw online, traders are making like 50%, 60%, not realizing what they are technically doing in the background with that position. So I learned how to trade from there, back tested every single thing that I learned, so that So I made sure that the information that I learned online was accurate. Whenever I say something, guys, I encourage you to like, okay, Kyle says that there's a X percentage chance of a break of structure causing continuation. You should backtest that, You got scammed with Cardano. Yeah, some assets will feel like a scam, especially if you buy near the top. I hear you, man. Talking about a scam, I just got scammed by a fake exchange back in February and lost 9% of my bag. That's how I started trading actively. That sucks, man. I haven't got scammed by a fake exchange before, but if you ever are concerned about an exchange, I use scamadvisor.com. You just take the URL and you paste it there, and it'll show you how old the domain name is, the server information, ratings from other people using it. And that can help you finding quick red flags without having to do a deep dive. And if the exchange refuses to share their reserves with a Merkle root, you do not trust that exchange, no matter what the fees are or how pretty it looks, because it's very easy to clone an exchange. Make sure they have a reserve. They show the reserves, because that's the proof that they have the funds in the background. And Sniper's Nightmare from the Otter Gang. Yeah, he's saying never put all your funds into one exchange. Use 4 or more at a time. That's a good practice too. I actually usually use multiple exchanges as well. But I'll have one exchange for this strategy, one exchange for that strategy, or a sub account for that strategy. And it helps you separate the profitability of the different strategies so you can see which one should be dropping or keeping, kind of thing. It's a good practice, man. Yeah. And then whatever you're not using, throw it into cold storage. And I use AliPal for my cold storage. So if you guys are looking for one, AliPal is great. It's air gapped, so there's no internet access. And it's not like the other ones that sometimes offer you a subscription service to hold your... If there's ever one that offers a subscription service to hold your seed phrase for you, don't go with them, because then you have to rely on their security to keep your stuff safe. Sniper's Nightmare talking about 2 spot accounts, 1 for swings, 1 for scalps, then ledger. That is perfect. That's perfect, man. Spot accounts are great for 2 things. A, you're preparing for a sell usually, or B, you can use your funds as collateral for inverse perpetual trading and unified trading too. If anyone of you guys know what unified is. Luke saying, I never open links or think money is easy to make. I've worked for the same amount of money you were making my whole life. Now I'm learning how to trade after learning about the monetary system. Yeah, the monetary system, realizing it's not backed by gold anymore and all that stuff that we're taught in school. Yeah, once you realize what's really underneath the curtains, it's hard not to be scared. So trading is kind of like a good outlet to grow. And you can scale with as a trader. So long as you're using proper risk management, you can scale as a trader. You'll never be able to scale if you don't do proper risk management, but Crypto Poyo, I just got my Celsius money back. And what I got back felt like a scam. Yeah, you probably got maybe 1/100th or 1/50th of what you were actually lost. I had funds in BlockFi when the whole FTX thing happened, and BlockFi was lending their user funds over to FTX, and FTX was giving them a return based on because they had better staking opportunities or managing stuff, and then they were keeping a cut. And when FTX went under, dozens of exchanges and assets went under too, because the amount of liquidity they were holding for other platforms and other tokens. And Solana was one of them. And I actually kind of like semi-boycotted Solana, not thinking that they would recover, because the amount of funds that FTX has over them is nuts. But Solana recovered, man. Oh my God. He did a really good job. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to go over? Okay. 80 viewers. I think this is the highest we've ever had. I appreciate everyone who's watching. I think this is a record. I think 80 is the highest we've ever had in this stream. No, we didn't get this. I don't think this is going to confirm. At least not for the bullish scenario. Ethereum also coming in for a retest after getting a rejection off of the previous point of control. Can you check Bozo and Karma? Yeah, I can. And ENA, Cardano, Bozo, Karma. Okay, so the list, we'll start from the top. So let's do ENA. I don't think I've charted ENA before. That logo looks familiar though. I'll do Binance. Regression trend. It's getting squeezed against resistance here. Zoom out really quick. See if we're going against anything. Oh, it's a sleeping dragon. Okay. We got. It's not perfect. Institutional volume coming in today. We got supply concern right here. So like based on what we see just on the daily time frame for ENA, we broke this downtrending momentum. We had support bounce off of it while we were combating the 50-day EMA. We're getting acceptance into this previous value area here. The main area of concern is right here. We've got a potential order block. It could act as a form of resistance. So around 35.09 would be your primary area of concern. So watch out for that. But if we get the consolidative continuation, because this is an area where we're likely going to consolidate either at or below it or above it. This is usually not like this. It's usually like this, this, or this. If we consolidate below it, we're more likely to reverse. But if we consolidate within it or above it, we're more likely to have continuation. So I'd prepare for that on the daily, but the measurable target is up here. So we can reach as high as, I'm anticipating this to act as resistance to previous value area low at 43.21, but this is the primary target that you should have. And this should be target one, like target one, target two in a macro sense. Now zooming in on the 15-minute, we're getting squeezed. But this is young. This is a young trend line here. We broke this downtrending resistance against this uptrending momentum, and we're hitting local resistance right now. But I would prepare for a continuation structure, potentially bring as high as these levels again. So overall, it's looking good. This is like a David trade, actually. We're just talking about David, and he looks for those sleeping dragons, the ones that are breaking macro resistance like this. And once he sees like a confirmation bounce, like something like this off these zones, he's usually in on them. Stop loss around here, targets the high, taking profits along the way. But so far it's looking good. Short term is getting crunched. See if it breaks this high or if it's going to break this low and come back down. We're like in a no trade zone right now while we're trading between these two key areas. What's the gap? That's a gap of, yeah, not even 1%. So you shouldn't even be trading this. Even a low time frame. The fees are just too much. Oh, what's the next asset? So we went through ENA. Someone wants me to look for Cardano. We could look at Cardano. Let's look at flash on Bitcoin again. All right, we're on the previous value area low. So what we'll need for the long is just, because we got the retrace that we wanted, just need the bounce and the higher high. If instead we have this act as resistance, then we'll get the short from the acceptance into this value area. Because the value area high is in the same spot as the previous value area low. Okay, let's go to load up the Cardano chart. Cardano. This poor guy. Oh, we finally broke. Okay. Yeah, the last time we were at this high, well, I guess I drew it from here. I was anticipating us to potentially come down again and grab all the liquidity that's there and bounce. But instead we bounced off this key level instead. My price feed's gonna be a little messed up because this is an older chart. I used to have I used to write resistance and support on my trend lines for beginners. And it got way too noisy. As you can see, you can't even see what's going on over there. But anyways, yeah, we have this downtrending momentum broken on Cardano. So the pace of the sellers are finally slowing down. And after breaking this momentum, this was the target that I had in mind, is at 52.12. So our first area of concern is here at 39.50. I have this local high here. But if we break that, we'll have even more momentum. We'll probably pick up the pace, actually, of volume to bring us to this kind of measurable target. We have some supply here to be concerned about at 42.81. So if we get reversal structure, just like we got here, the double top posture, change of character, confirmation, that's a warning to get out of any longs. We just broke this local double bottom, and we're fractalizing again, right? So we see the double bottom here, potential double bottom here. So Cardano looking overall bullish on the daily. I think about 90% of my community has boycotted Cardano, so if I gave a signal about it, they'll probably just DM me some hate. Let's see. Yeah. We got this. We broke out, break a structure, retest to the high. Yeah, so this is the next area of consolidation that you're likely going to see. 59 or 39.65 for Cardano before we continue up further. But once Cardano picks a direction, it goes that direction for a long time because it's a slow moving asset. Super slow. Next request, Bozo and Karma. So I think I have Bozo pulled up here. I had to pull it on log chart for the first time since its creation. So it's on logarithmic mode now. We are hitting this downtrending resistance. The pace of buyers are pretty aggressive on it. For those of you who don't know, I'm on Bird Eye right now, and Bird Eye is basically a decentralized exchange. You connect your wallet to it to do trades and stuff like that, and it gives you can adjust your slippage tolerance. You know, it'd be really nice if centralized exchanges also allowed you to set slippage tolerance. That would be great. Instead of having to do the math based on the mark price and the last trade price, you know, I think it'd be great centralized exchanges too. I don't know what kind of benefit a centralized exchange would get over slippage other than the fact that it could cause traders to slip and close their trades where they get more trading fees. But yeah, Bozo is looking like it's preparing for a potential double top, but we have a lot of aggressive buy volume here. So just be a little cautious. If we get acceptance back inside, say this, oh yeah, I see why we have, relative to the changes that they're doing that you guys told me about. Why can't I get a draw? There we go. It's super laggy. It's probably my side. Thanks for 88. Oh, no problem. Hope it helps. See, we're bouncing off these local highs here. And if we break the neckline of this double top, the confluence of that would be acceptance back inside of this value area. So you can anticipate us going back down to the bottom of the value area if we break that neckline. So just watch out for that. That's like a key area of concern. I know you're a spot holder, Wagner, so it'd be more beneficial for you to know like an accumulation. So if you would like ended up having a break of this momentum, that change of character, acceptance to the value area, I would close some of your position to prepare for a rebuy so you can accumulate more and more. Because I know you guys love accumulating this asset, so this could be an accumulation opportunity. And that doesn't seem like a harsh drop, but that's almost like that's a huge drop. That's like going from, if this chart would work, I can actually pull the measurement for you. That's like a 50% drop. So just be careful. Yeah, careful about that. Let me close this before I open up the Karma chart. See how Karma's doing. Oh, it looks pretty good. Okay. So Karma broke out this falling wedge, measurable target. I'm looking at, like, technically it's up here, but I'm looking at around like 1840, and I want to reclaim 12 again, 12 cents. Right now we're at just about 8 cents. We broke out, had this momentum break, and we had a steep decline. We broke that momentum. So this asset is getting better and better in terms of, like, if you're a momentum-based trader, this is getting easier and easier for you to trade. So we're basically coiling up for a larger move, potentially to the upside. With all the development that's going on in the background, it's likely going to go up without any insider info. But this is the high I would watch right here for potential resistance. If we break above that, it'll give more confidence in investors to drive the price up further. We can see that we bounced here. So there is buyers here that are likely trapped. So we got to watch out for that supply issue, right? Just like in any other chart, no matter how young the asset is or how few amount of holders it has, all the warning signs are there, right? So this could have topped here because we had some buyers here trapped and they sold, right? And we could do the same thing here again. So unless the buyers can outpace the sellers here, just anticipate this act as resistance again. And that could actually drive price to retest this high if we get up there. And that's a psychological level as well, exactly 10 cents. But overall, it's positioned to be pretty bullish. Looks like a lot like Cardano's chart, honestly. Karma to $10 next target. That'd be great. Yeah, that would require a $70 million market cap. Hey Kyle, quick question. Is it worth it? If it's worth it, I bought VSOL a little while ago, 1 or 2 months ago, and Solana value has earned a little. But it's time to go back. Should I keep it in SOL? Or should I go to USDC or T? So I don't know much about VSOL. I'm assuming it's a stable coin if you're in Solana value. Well, if you're doing it based on the decision of Solana's price action, let's go with Solana for a second. So Solana is actually positioned to have a strong continuation, a lot like Bitcoin actually. So we are in this macro range here since February, just like Bitcoin, right? For about 220 days. So it is positioned to be bullish. We are above all these EMAs you see on my screen. We are above the structural point of control. We're having honored as support. If we get that higher high continuation, then our next area of concern is 155 in this supply zone here. If we break past that, our overall target is around 168, 170 zone again. Basically going back up to its structural value area high. This would happen relative to Bitcoin reaching $70,000 though. So if Bitcoin reaches 70K, Solana would be here as well. If Bitcoin breaks 71.5, Solana would break this. If Bitcoin has 71 point, like a rejection at 75K, Solana would reach around 200. So like this is what I'm anticipating to happen. If Bitcoin reaches that high zone again, this is what I'm anticipating to happen with Solana. This is all happening on the daily chart right here. But short-term wise, it's like positioning itself for that bullish continuation. We're getting squeezed right now off of that key level of previous resistance / support. Liquid staking token. Okay, so yeah, if it's driven a lot by Solana's price action, then I'd basically use Solana as your deciding factor for that. And Solana is looking more bullish, so if you're making money as Solana goes up, then I'd keep making money until we have a warning sign that we're going to reverse. And that's right now, the key warning signs are between 156 and 160 zone. This is the key area here. And above the value area high. If we get price action above the value area high, and we get acceptance back inside the value area, then that's your warning sign to get out. Hope that helps you out, man. Any update on the clairvoyant? Yes. But it's kind of a secret. I'm really bad at those. So there's some updates on it. You will know very, 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 very soon. There's lots of changes that happened in the background, but it's all good stuff. So anyone who is part of the clairvoyant strategy, you're going to be hearing good news very soon. Suggestions on books to read or material to go through to start. Trading in the Zone. I would pick that one up for sure. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Anything by Mark Douglas is pure gold. Especially if you're someone who struggles with emotions. Trading in the Zone's great. I'm just looking around the books in my studio. Let's see what's a good start for you guys. Atomic Habits is good. I know it doesn't technically relate to trading, but Atomic Habits can relate to like everything. We actually have a little library list of stuff too. So if I go over to, we have a library in the mindset section. Think and Grow Rich, Smarter and Faster Better, The Power of Habit, Mastering Trading Psychology by Andrew Azes, The Mental Game of Trading. This is a free channel, by the way. So if you guys join the InvestorShare server, this is a free channel. So you can click on any of these little tabs and you get the free PDF right here. So it's has a description, free PDF, stuff like that. Kind of like the 7 Habits upgraded. Yeah, Atomic Habits, great. The book I'm reading right now is nothing related to trading either. It's just I'm trying to be a better entrepreneur because like I kind of it's kind of this life was kind of like chosen for me. I didn't really choose it, so I'm just trying to get better at it. So yeah, the book I'm reading right now is like Buy Back Your Time. I need to be better at delegating. I struggle with delegating work because I'm kind of a control freak. So I'm trying to create processes to help me teach a team to do a lot of work for me so I can focus on on stuff that provides more value to the community instead of stuff that siphons away my time. Wagner saying I accumulate around 2,000 to 8,000 just selling and rebuying. That's fucking awesome. That's basically how I accumulated so much Bitcoin. The same kind of concept. Buy and sell during a bear market, and then when the confirmed bull market occurs, I do an inverse perpetual trade. And I just ride the inverse perpetual trade as long as I possibly can. I closed mine earlier than I wanted to this time, but it's just because of the fees were just too much. I don't need this anymore. All right, so we got our pullback. Unfortunately, our stop loss is going to be around here right now. I don't want to force a target. And then we can target these extreme highs and maintain this regression trend. But we got to see if the liquidity is there for that. So we're going to pull up the two charts. We're going to pull up the order books, and we're going to pull up the heat map. I want to see what kind of sell pressure we can anticipate with the order books. It's kind of like, think of the order books as a way of looking both ways before you cross the road. Is there traffic ahead that's going to cause me to get hit by a car kind of thing? So we got a little sell wall here. It's just 200 Bitcoin. 200 Bitcoin again at 64.2. So just no, it's low confidence right now for sellers. This could change as soon as we confirm, though. If we confirm, then we'll look for a sell wall. But so far, the walls aren't looking strong. They're looking pretty weak. What is that exchange? That is OKX. Yeah, OKX has got a decent wall at 64,090. Let's look at the heat map. JK Meadows, that's what I'm doing with shit spot on Blowfin. Yeah. Just buy low, sell high over and over and over again. Turn 250 to 500 in 24 hours. That's pretty good, man. What is that built on? What network is that built on? Okay, if we can find out if it's network-based tokens about to break out of a move alongside Bitcoin. Yeah, it looks like the strongest reversal point on the long side right now on the that's the 3-day chart. We got even more liquidity above us after that return. 65,000's got about $177 million. So if that's used as exit liquidity, that would maintain the regression trend, and we get a retracement from that. So 65. Oh, it's actually even more. It's 205 now. So let's pull up the Bitcoin chart. So if we were to visualize our pathing based on that liquidity, which is right here, and we zoom out, yeah, that makes sense. So we'd maintain the regression trend, likely get a rejection, and keep this trend line. So here, yeah. So this is something I like to do with the order books and the heat maps. I'll find out the areas of concern, see if there's any confluence, like previous value high or previous value low for buy or sell walls. And liquidity zones. So if there's a giant sell wall here and confluence with the liquidity zone, then we're likely going to get rejection off of it. And you can kind of like visualize the pathing, even if there's only like one touch point and you don't have that second touch point yet, you can kind of visualize a trend line and see how it could behave. Okay. So I'm going to target that liquidity. Kyle, if it helps to hit $10, I got a potential investor with $1 million. $1 million investing in Karma. That would double the market cap. Yeah, that sounds great, but they'd own a huge amount of supply. What's the... Oh yeah, Shim dump it all on Karma. Yeah. Yeah, Karma. Shim was mentioning that earlier. Anything else you guys want to go over before I gotta go? This trade looks like it might confirm soon. I'm trying to wait on it. But I also have to do some recording and editing. So this is the... when this breaks, we get a higher high off of this. Then we have our break of structure confirmation for the continuation that we kind of wanted this to occur, right? So you just got to be patient and wait for it to confirm. We have our stop loss guard in place. Maybe we come down again and get a higher high, like higher low, sorry. We get even better stop loss. That's why patience pays. Sui bought a bag for my girl spot. Yeah, we went over Sui. We can do it again. Can we please talk about the red and green triangles you draw? Oh, this red and green. Oh yeah, these are drawn by an indicator. Oh, these, or you mean these ones? These are like preparation zones of confluence. I draw this to make things a little bit easier for people to visualize high areas of extreme interest. So this is an area where you typically would prepare for a reversal. The price would actually go down because of the fact that we have this downtrending resistance, this uptrending momentum. If you compare that data together, you can start drawing triangles to help define areas where you can prepare for reversals. If we instead break out, then you just need to know how to handle that situation as well, like the retest, the break of structure. So I just draw it to make things a little bit more beginner friendly. So if I were to see us meeting this downtrending momentum against this support, I would draw a green triangle instead, like right here. Make things even, this is like prepare for long. Here's prepare for short. That's all they really are. If you, for some reason, are talking about these little diamonds, that's the Shikai indicator. So we just need that higher high to confirm this. Because we could still double top here, guys. We could still have that bear scenario play out. And the bear scenario honestly is just as easy as the long. And the R&R is just as good, honestly, too. And then whatever percentage drawdown we get, I have this risk management calculator that you guys, I think I put in the description of the video, where we can you just type in the stop loss percentage, so you can prepare how much margin should you contribute to the trade based on your account size. So if you have like a 0.6% drawdown and your account balance is like, let's say it's like $5,000, you're risking to lose $50 to gain 100 or more. Then you'd need to contribute $8,333 worth of volume in order to have that loss with this stop loss. So your goal is to be consistent as you possibly can with your risk. If you want to put less margin in than the full 5,000, which is something I highly encourage, then you need to use higher leverage to still have that volume to maintain that loss. And the less margin, the better, but you don't want to bring your leverage to the point where your liquidation is prior to your stop loss suggestion, basically. So like this trade, for example, wouldn't be able to handle a 50x leverage trade because you'd be liquidated before it hit your stop loss. And the reason why you want to put less margin in, because if there's an event where your stop loss isn't honored, the only thing you can lose in your trade is what's in your margin. And I learned that the hard way So if you could learn from my mistakes, that would be great. I've always been trading with low leverage ever since I got a larger account size, like 2x to maximum 5x. But recently I had a stop loss situation where I lost 2 times more than what I was trying to lose because my stop loss was hopped from an extremely high volume event, and I lost 2 times more than what I was aiming to lose. So ever since then, I've been using 20 to 75x leverage. QNT. We can look at QNT. Yeah. Quant on Binance. It's at 77 today. All right, so it looks like the last time I charted it, we had this downtrending momentum, and this is our area of concern. We broke this high, which is the area of interest that I was watching, and now we're consolidating off of it. Let's zoom in a little bit on the hourly because it does look like it's positioning for a bearish move. Yeah, it looks like it's getting squeezed. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like it's trying to position itself for a double top, which could bring the price down to this uptrending momentum again. It doesn't have very much room to move. We have this evolving momentum here that we lost, then retested before we dropped. This was the change of character. And we're kind of just floating above it right now. So I dissect this on the 15-minute, and we can see that we got basically a bear flag off of the neckline of the double top. So we have bearish continuation pattern in confluence with a reversal pattern. And the bearish continuation measurable move usually is in line with the reversal pattern move. So we'll find out if that's true. We've got, this is the last consultative point from here to here. You grab the trend line, you bring it to the last retest, the high, and that's how you get your bear flag measurable target. And the key area of interest is the last retest that needs to be broken before you can confirm the move down. And if we zoom out, let's go to the 30-minute for a second. Trend line support, resistance. Measure move from the neckline to that midpoint of that resistance. Bring it down, and they're pretty much in line. So this would be the next area of support that I'd watch for it. I just watch this whole zone here. So we're likely going to see that reversal around here, 74.90. Now if this breaks to the upside instead, which you should prepare for as well, despite how bearish this looks for quant, you should always prepare for the A and B scenario. Because if this breaks to the upside, then we could easily have a bull flag form from this too. Right? So, yeah, that's quant. But overall, macro-wise, it is bullish. Short term, bearish. Like super short term is bearish. If we go back to the Bitcoin chart, see what Bitcoin's doing, so we're not missing out. I'll retrace a little bit more. Maybe we'll get that better stop loss. That'd be great. Okay, so what about Filecoin and Drift? Do you offer any discount on joining the elite membership? I would check. I'll try typing investor share in the code section and see if that works. I discontinued a lot because what's happening right now in the background, it'd be more beneficial for you to join Finova rather than InvestShare because we did a merge with them. So all of our services are been transferred over to Finova. If you give me like a day, I can probably create a code to give you guys a discount to try it out. I'll create the code as the code will be BTC. So if you type in BTC in the coupon section, like this, I'll try to give you guys like 50% off. So you can try it out for a month and see if it's something that you're interested in. Hey, I requested permissions for the risk calculator. Can you please check? I need to set up the share. Oh, you don't want to be an editor. So you request to be an editor. What you need to do is go over here on the left-hand side, click File, click Make a Copy, and then you have your own private copy. I don't want to give editing access in case there's any private information you want to add to this, because this is also a win rate journal too. So you can copy, all of this can be yours. It's just by going over here, File, Make a Copy. And soon there's going to be a lesson video attached to it, so you can learn how to use it if you're newer to trading. Because it goes over the different types of risk management that I do. There's more different types of risk management than this, but these are like the core ones that I use. And then the win rate journal is attached to it too. So if you want to track your win rate, it's a great tool for that too. But yeah, Drift and Filecoin. We could do that, then I do gotta head out, guys, after that. Because I gotta do a lot of editing before tonight's call. And I'm hoping that this confirms soon. Because if we get the higher high internally, right here, we can use this as our stop loss guard. And we got even better R&R for our setup. Maybe we can target a lower area, undercut that zone, so we can de-risk a little bit sooner, increase our chance of success. Okay, so let's go to Drift. See what's up with Drift. And I'm going to set this alarm so I don't miss out. I'm going to do once per bar close. So the moment I get the alarm will be the moment I get the entry. Let's do only once. Then I don't want to rush it. BTC, long setup, create. Okay. We're looking at Drift. Spot. Let's do Bybit because they have really good liquidity. Well, Drift is young. Something I never tried before. Yeah, it only has a 50-day EMA. All right, it's got a 9 flash on the T sequential. We have this macro momentum here on the daily. We have about 16 days of negative space before the momentum line if we were to range. Let's see. So we can expect our next big move with this within 18 days unless it has evolving momentum. Just go through here. It's getting squeezed. Let's get the fixed range volume profile at the start of consolidation here to here. We've got a demand zone right down here. In confluence with the 50-day. Yeah, so we're in an area where you would want to prepare for a long. Like we're not, we haven't confirmed it yet, but we're seeing uptrending area of interest, right? So we might have an undercut to the value area low. Doesn't mean we won't get it, but it's a high chance that we could have an undercut. So this is, we were just talking about like why I draw my little triangles actually. This would be an area where you prepare for a long, so you can draw a little green triangle, preparing for that. So price action will likely consolidate against this momentum until we finally break it. And the last retest that you find would be your area of interest. So this is the current area of interest, but it's also in line with the point of control. So entering along right with the point of control in your face like this is really high risk. Unless you want to babysit that trade, I recommend not entering unless we break this. And I know that means sacrificing profits, but sometimes it's worth it in exchange for security. So unless you get like an SFP, like maybe off of this wick, right? You get an SFP off of this, I wouldn't try going for the long prior to the break of this point of control. So I'll just be mindful of that, because I could just, it would suck to enter along and then have immediately go against you after hitting the POC. So that's your area of interest. Then you can target the local value area high at 73 cents in confluence with the downtrending momentum, where you prepare for the next reversal again, or a potential break, right? And this could be a front run entry for that potential break, getting in early on drift. I'm guessing drift is a gaming token. I never tried it before, but if I think drift, I think gaming sector for some reason. But I'm just guessing. Can you post this for otters if you can? Yeah, I can post this in otter section. The local move. Let's go over there. Well, what I'll do even better, what I'll do is I'll clone this chart, make a copy, and we'll just title it drift. And then I'll give you my drift chart so you can look at my analysis. Sharing, copy link. There you go. That's a lot easier for you. Drift is a token for a DEX. Okay. Sweet. So that would mean you need to watch for a burning and minting schedule. And most DEXs offer liquidity rewards. So they're very, very inflationary, incredibly inflationary. So watch out for inflationary damage and watch out for a burn structure to try to combat that inflationary damage. If they do not have a burn structure, you shouldn't even be owning it. You could trade it, but I wouldn't own it. And see what the burn schedule date is. If you get a good burn schedule date in place, then you can use that in confluence with your technical analysis, saying like, okay, on this day, let's say it's every Friday they schedule their burns. I'm going to look for long opportunities because the supply will be reduced during that time. And if it's a buyback burn, even better, because it's almost like a guaranteed pump. And you can find out exactly how much they're planning to buy by looking through their treasury. Then you can see the measurable move that their buy will cause, and you can front run their own purchase. And then you could sell against them as soon as they buy it. So DEX tokens are good for that kind of transparency. You can use them as a cool tool to make some money for short-term trades. That's a little advanced to try to like figure that out on your own, but I'd recommend going through their white paper at least and figuring out what their bird schedule is. And they should have their wallets revealed to show you what they do with what, and then you can kind of track them from there. So drift is saved. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Cool. All right, we do have a better potential stop loss, assuming we break this high prior to creating a new low. Far side of the moon wants me to look at file. Do we have file? Don't have a file chart, but I can pull it up. Oh, maybe I got the ticker wrong. Yeah. Look at it through Binance. Pretty sure I charted it before. Yeah, it looks like it's preparing for move to the upside. If that breaks, we have a massive technical target up there. So, yeah, file right now just retested a critical area of demand. The bear market low is basically here. So it's still inside this macro range. It's bizarre. It looks like this was our, it was like the last setup. What's around here? So it broke its momentum off of that area of demand. We're at the value, we bounced at the value low. We're getting above the 50-day EMA. We have local resistance confluence with the 200-day. And this is our next primary area of interest. If broken, we would confirm a double bottom. But man, is it relative to the other assets we looked at, like Solana and its positioning is much worse than the other ones. I gotta reduce some of that noise here. Let's get rid of these. So we're stuck in consolidation right now. If we can maintain this consolidation, then we're going to get squeezed against the momentum and make a decision to break to the downside or the upside. This is a current area of interest. If broken, we're very likely to go to hit this uptrending momentum here. Well, just be mindful of this high here. We got supply issues there. Yeah, I don't want to touch this one. Like macro wise, I can see it being a good call for a potential hold. Like its positioning in this value area is very, very low. So if you're holding this for a long-term hold, it looks like it's trying to structure itself for a good position of strength. You can hold it for like a longer term hold to around, I'll say $6.60 is at least like, or $5.70 is at least kind of like a guarantee. I can't say the word guarantee, but like holding it to there is not a bad idea. If we broke this high, then the measurable move is $45. That would be intense. I don't see that happening with the way the market's going right now. Unless we finally have that altcoin season. And based on the other dominance chart, well, we might have an altcoin rally sparking again here soon. This daily candle closes above this high. This is going to be a representation of a spark of an altcoin rally. At least until, it looks like November. November 21st area. Show Bitcoin. That emote doesn't make me feel confident. What we got? Yeah, Bitcoin yet? Or just nothing yet? We haven't confirmed it yet, but we're close. We just got to get a higher high here. Well, I'm going to type out this signal for the community. Let's type it out here first. Yeah, okay. Okay, entry. What time frame are we validating this off of? The 5 minute. So we need a 5 minute candle close above 63.951. Okay, and stop loss suggestion. We're looking at the value low basically for our stop loss. So 63.631. And target. Let's find our 1 to 2. We'll undercut liquidity a little bit. We'll do it at 60. We'll just do the target the high of 64,730. Okay. All right, cool. So the Otter Gang's got theirs. Let's go to Invest Share. Invest Share's got theirs. And Finova. Nova's got theirs. Cool. Okay. So I don't need that on there anymore. They're already halfway to it. All right. Do you use Bitcoin dominance chart for TA? I do use it in confluence with the others dominance chart to help decide the likelihood of a altcoin season. Because like a huge spark warning sign of a bear market is the altcoin season. Is a representation of rotation of funds. So if you see funds going from the market cap of Bitcoin and trickling into altcoins, the Bitcoin dominance will go down as the altcoins dominance will go up. And that's usually the last marker, one of the last markers to a bear market warning. So it's not a chart that I use to call tops, but if I see it happening, I'll use it in Confluence. I usually use on-chain data to call tops, and Confluence with the loss of macro momentum. So once the on-chain rules are met, I'm out of my everything. If I find a reason to sell Bitcoin, I usually sell almost everything. All right, so yeah, Brendan, yeah, you're right. I'm waiting for a 5 minute to kind of close above that area. I want price acceptance above that zone to confirm a break of structure. Technically, a break of structure will occur if we just get a wick above this zone, but I jump in on price acceptance. So I'll wait for a full body close above this. The candle could start down here. As long as it closes up here, I'm happy. Is the one-click TA bot under the trading tools section available at no charge to gold members? It's asking for a subscription. So what is happening there? With one-click TA, you will get 5 free requests for being in a server that is partnered with one-click TA. So Finova or InvestShare or Karma, depending on which server you're in, it will give you 5 free requests alongside your subscription. So you need to have a subscription in order to use it still, but you get 5 free requests on top of it. So you can kind of milk that actually, because if you can be in like 3 different servers that have one-click TA in it. Let me just pull it up. Let's do Bitcoin analysis and see what it thinks. And let's do the 15-minute time frame. But yeah, so you get 300 requests with the lowest plan. But if you think about it, if you like use multiple servers that have a partnership with it, you'll get 5 free requests from each one. It stacks. Okay, so it is. I was warning us of a potential false breakout. 20% probability of a false breakout. 70% chance of a bullish breakout confirmation. So it's thinking the same thing we're thinking right now. It will also give you a summary of why it thinks that. It reads over 140 4 indicators to determine its analysis, and it'll use the indicators that have the most relevance to the situation based on their probability factor in that situation. It will go over liquidation levels, so you can include that in your analysis. It Bollinger Bands, fixed range volume profiles, RSI. Yeah, it goes through everything. And it'll go through the data as well of the last open, close. So it tells you which candle it referred the information from, the most recent candle that it pulled from. So you know you're getting the analysis from appropriate time frame. But yeah, so yeah, it's thinking the same thing that we're thinking right now, based on the posture of the market. It's thinking 70% chance of a continuation and a 20% chance for a false breakout. And this is the most probable trade. And the max leverage you should use based on the stop loss. It gets better and better and better. This thing's insane. It's not something that you replace with your TA, but if you use it in confluence with it, it can help you with your confidence in the market stuff. All right, guys, I should head out. My plan was to start working on the editing and recording at 2 o'clock, and it's been like an hour and a half since then. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me in the Discord. I'd love to help you guys out. There's a call tonight at 5:30. So if anyone who's in the gold membership or the elite membership will be able to jump in with me and do another call based on mindset and technical analysis. Any questions you have, I'll help you out. I appreciate everyone who's watched up to this far. We got like 69 viewers, 72 viewers. It's great. I think we reached a new record for amount of viewers in a single live stream. So I appreciate everyone who's watching and all the likes and subscriptions. You guys are helping out a lot. But yeah, I'm excited to be doing this with you guys a lot more frequently soon, because I'm about halfway done the course. And once the course is done, I'm going to have so much more free time. I've been wanting to get this course done for you guys for so long, and now that this Finova merger has allowed me the time to do that. So yeah, excited. Thanks for the stream. No problem, man. Thanks for jumping on. I know it was your first time, and I appreciate you participating. It was fun.